got some bad news for you. You're done, son. It's over. A moment like this, some people wait a lifetime for a moment.
So, as it turns out, it would seem the CMA doesn't want you, me, or anyone else saving money on video games. Really watching out for our backs there. You're doing an excellent job, guys. Thanks.
We f*** you up, man. We takes the money.
Call of Duty on a subscription service that would save me over $1,000 on all of the Call of Duty games. Yeah, I don't need that.
You don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
What I need is for Call of Duty to stay fully priced on Steam with all the expansions. That's exactly what I need. Thank you, guys. I wish I could give you some of my own tax dollars.
Shut up and take my
pounds.
How very noble of the CMA to block an option that could have existed for all of us. Thanks, guys. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause and take more pounds?
Douchebag of the year.
You know, I was just thinking the other day, you know what this industry could really use more of right now? It could use some more goddamn consolidation. What with Netflix now wanting to get into the gaming scene, my gaming libraries are gonna be even more split up. And you know, during these times, that's exactly what the consumer needs. More subscription services to sign up for. It should be more complicated, more expensive, and a lot more limited. That's exactly what the consumer needs. Jesus Christ, Frit, that's a full minute of pure sarcasm. Can you stop? Oh, my bad. The Molly's been f***ing up my serotonin receptors. And the nitrous oxide ain't exactly helping. And what's not helping is the news we got today, of course. Well, not today. Yesterday. I was too hungover to make a video, I'm sorry. Plus, Destin already made one. But if you actually want an entertaining version of that video, then you've come to the right place. That's right, the CMA's finally done it. They reached their decision, and that decision is that they're going to block the merger of Activision with Microsoft. So, that's a fat L on me because I thought they would approve it. You may all gracefully type in the chat L Tanga.
Yo, everybody type in the chat.
Fritanga.
It's a stupid name.
If I'm gonna be entirely honest with you though, I'm more annoyed at this than upset. I really want this shit to be over with, but unfortunately it seems Microsoft is gonna try to make an appeal, so it's gonna drag on to possibly 2024, which is both good news and bad news, because on one hand, Destin still has a job, but on the other, the pure autism all over social media is gonna get worse. But basically it would seem if the CMA can't kill it now, then they're gonna drag it on as long as possible. Unlike all the other competition regulators that approved of this acquisition with no problem, the CMA is the only one that has found a problem with this purchase. While we were all retardedly speculating for months that it must be something to do with Sony, which I still do think, it turns out the number one problem the CMA has with Microsoft's purchase is the potential harm to cloud gaming services in the future.
Microsoft Activision deal prevented to protect innovation and choice in cloud gaming. The CMA has prevented Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision over concerns the deal would alter the future of the fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. Microsoft's solution had significant shortcomings and would require regulatory oversight by CMA. Panel Chair. Cloud gaming needs a free, competitive market to drive innovation and choice. The final decision to prevent the deal comes after Microsoft's proposed solution failed to effectively address the concerns in the cloud gaming sector, outlined in the Competition Markets Authority provisional findings published in February. Microsoft entered into a $68.7 billion deal to buy Activision, one of the most popular video game publishers in the world, in January 2022. The CMA launched an in-depth review of the deal in September 2022 and in February 2023, provisionally found that the merger could make Microsoft even stronger in cloud gaming, stifling competition in this growing market.
Yeah, what's going on right now doesn't matter, no, not one bit. The non-existent streaming services of the future, that is their concern. That is who they must protect. This doesn't really make any sense to me. The choice to play all Call of Duty games on one streaming service doesn't even exist. As we speak, people don't have a choice. When Microsoft proposed the acquisition of Activision, they made agreements with Sony that they would put Call of Duty on their PlayStation Plus service. They also made deals with several other streaming services. I don't see how Microsoft didn't cover enough ground for the CMA not to be concerned. And between all gaming services, Game Pass is the one service that's been the most innovative and has given consumers the most choice, while everybody else has basically been slacking off. Hell, PS Plus had their service long before Microsoft, and they didn't even bother to try until late last year. Yet the CMA seems to think by not allowing Microsoft to own Activision, all these other services' quality will go up and people have more choices, even though none of those services has really done a goddamn thing. It just doesn't really make any sense when you actually think about it. Cause cloud gaming services only make up $1 billion out of a $180 billion industry. Granted, I know that number's gonna skyrocket within the next 5 to 10 years, but I mean, goddamn, someone's gonna have to put COD on a streaming service eventually. I just don't understand why Microsoft is the one who's not allowed to do it, because eventually one of these trillion-dollar companies is going to do it. And I'd rather it be the one with the best service on the market available, while also being the one company that's allowing COD to exist on other streaming services. For God's sakes, they got Nintendo, of all companies, to sign this. And considering Nintendo is easily the pettiest one of the big three, I'm quite surprised. That to me holds more weight than what the CMA is suggesting. And once again, it leaves PlayStation as the only cloud service provider saying no. Now again, it is just Microsoft's word, so that doesn't really mean much if we're being honest. But based on what I'm seeing from all these other streaming services, it seems they would rather have Call of Duty on their platform than no Call of Duty at all. Because up to this point, nobody can actually feasibly do it other than Microsoft. And my best guess is these companies are looking at Microsoft and they're thinking to themselves, hey, if you're gonna fork over the bill to allow COD to exist on our platforms, then we're good for it. Because something like Call of Duty is guaranteed to get your subscriber count to go up on any service. The CMA has put all of their energy into the smallest percentage of the gaming market and has used it as a reason to block this merger, which is kind of ridiculous because they actually had a better argument in the console market than they did in the cloud gaming market.
The UK cloud gaming market is growing fast. Monthly active users in the UK more than tripled from the start of 2021 to the end of 2022. It is forecast to be worth up to 11 billion globally and 1 billion in the UK by 2026. By way of comparison, sales of recorded music in the UK in 2021 amounted to 1.1 billion. Microsoft has a strong position in cloud gaming services, and evidence available to the CMA showed that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's games exclusive to its own cloud gaming service. Microsoft already accounts for an estimated 60 to 70% of global cloud gaming services and has other important strengths in cloud gaming, from owning Xbox, the leading PC operating system, Windows, and a global cloud computing infrastructure. The deal would reinforce Microsoft's advantage in the market by giving it control over important gaming content such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. The evidence available to the CMA indicates that, absent the merger, Activision would start providing games via cloud platforms in the foreseeable future.
Don't tell me what to do.
Aw, do you hear that, Activision? Look, the CMA knows what's best for you. Never mind, as a company, you guys are doing terrible, and definitely not in a position where you're gonna be putting your AAA games on streaming services day one. But the CMA has already spoken on your behalf and has already told everybody what you're going to do, even though what Activision actually said was attributable to an Activision Blizzard spokesperson. The CMA's report contradicts the ambitions of the UK to become an attractive country to build technology businesses. We will work aggressively with Microsoft to reverse this on appeal. The report's conclusions are a disservice to UK citizens who face increasingly dire economic prospects. We will reassess our growth plans for the UK. Global innovators, large and small, will take note that despite all its rhetoric, the UK is clearly closed for business.
You can't do this to me.
I'm sorry, Activision, but the CMA knows what's best for you and what's best for consumers. You're gonna run your American-owned company like the UK demands you to. But in all reality, wow, Activision Blizzard is clearly not happy. Even more upset than Microsoft. I mean, can you blame them? The company is in dire need of a purchase. Plus, we all want Bobby Kotick to get his ass out of the company. But nah, the CMA knows what's best. And what's best is for Activision to continue losing money, for Bobby Kotick to stay in the company, and for gamers to pay full price for Call of Duty. That is what's best for everyone. Well, I don't know what to tell the CMA. Maybe they're right. Maybe this purchase not going through will get Activision to start putting their games on other streaming platforms. But it most certainly ain't gonna happen in the UK now, based on what Bobby's saying. You guys pissed him off. So congratulations, you screwed over all your United Kingdom citizens to protect streaming services that don't even exist yet. Give yourselves a round of applause. Your tax pounds at work, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's all because of you guys. You know what? You guys with your marching and your letters and your phone calls, this is all thanks to you. So you made this happen. You guys, you know, my God, give yourselves a round of applause. Come on.
Allowing Microsoft to take such a strong position in the cloud gaming market just as it begins to grow rapidly would risk undermining the innovation that is crucial to the development of these opportunities.
Oh, okay, I get it. We have to stop Microsoft because their service is simply too good, too innovative, and too popular. We gotta give all these other streaming services the opportunity to buy Call of Duty, even though none of them can afford it. Simply wouldn't be fair to the almighty Google Stadia. Once again, this is happening in the UK and nowhere else in the world. And it is for the smallest fraction of the gaming market. Again, it's beyond me how Sony had a more valid argument than the CMA does right now. Now, obviously, while I don't agree with the CMA's decision, I would have at the very least respected them if it was for a good reason, but they legit went for like one of the worst excuses they could possibly find. And this decision rocked the internet and corporate suits. It's like not a single person could have a good take on any of this. Ponies were out for blood, Xbox fanboys were crying in a pool of their own piss, and corporate goons took a stand that is honestly so laughable I couldn't tell if it was AI generated. For instance, here's Microsoft's president Brad Smith with a cringe-ass take for you.
Very disappointed about the CMA's decision, but more than that, unfortunately, I think it's bad for Britain. The business community, the investment community, and the technology sector around the world have been following this case. And the strong message the CMA has sent is not just to surprise everyone who fully expected this acquisition to be approved, but to send a message that I think will discourage innovation and investment in the United Kingdom. And I think in that sense, the impact of this decision is far broader than on Microsoft or this acquisition alone. Microsoft has been in the United Kingdom for 40 years, and we play a vital role, not just supporting businesses and nonprofits, but even defending the nation from cybersecurity threats. But this decision, I have to say, is probably the darkest day in our 4 decades in Britain. It does more to shake our confidence in the future of the opportunity to grow a technology business in Britain than we've ever confronted before.
How noble of you! Oh, thank you! Oh my fucking God! This is the type of shit Colt Eastwood buys into, but this shit don't work on me. I take psychedelics. I see through it. Either way, to call this the darkest day in your 40 years in Britain? Are you for real right now? Microsoft getting denied one acquisition is the worst thing to ever happen to them in over 40 years in the land of clocks and tea? See, the difference between me and you, Brad, is I always knew the Brits were terrible. I always said to people to stay away from the Brits and they never listened to me. The UK, a PlayStation dominant region, was never gonna really be in your favor. And again, I cannot stress enough that this is most certainly not the darkest day in Britain for you in over 40 years, okay? Red Ring of Death, ring a bell? Disastrous Xbox One launch? Ring a bell? Have the last 15 years in the UK even been that good for you at all? Honestly, you're giving off some pretty hardcore Jim Ryan vibes right now. This is like a level 3 apology from Yakuza Like a Dragon. I guess to your average day citizen, it seems comical, but to shareholders, it must be convincing. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's the same tactic PlayStation fanboys use on each other. Because our favorite babyface ass looking motherfucker MBG is back with a take that he basically steals from his comment section, because that's who he is. He isn't capable of coming up with his own takes. He reads comments and basically just copies them.
Sony is the market leader today because they did their job and they did it well, while the competition floundered. Seeing some Xbox fans out here crying that it's not fair the CMA blocked Microsoft's ABK deal is just sad. Maybe start asking Microsoft to deliver some quality games.
If I ever find one of these lying around again, I swear to fucking God, I will stop being so polite. Get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
If by doing their job you mean paying lots of money to developers like Square Enix to exclude Xbox specifically from getting games, then yeah, they've done their job well. I congratulate Sony. They're doing what they've got to do, but in return, isn't that what Microsoft is doing now? The only difference is they actually have the money to own the intellectual properties. But you can tell this tweet is full of a lot of pent-up rage MBG has, because let's face it, the guy gets harassed by Xbots in his comment section all the time. I feel for you. I'll let you take the W, MBG, but this tweet doesn't really make any sense. It's like he wants to give Sony credit for the ABK deal not going through. I mean, I guess they could take some credit. They were the only ones to go to the CMA and beg them to stop it. But I don't really know if that's something we should praise Sony over.
Everybody that said that Jim Ryan was crying and desperate, yes. You don't have egg on your face. You got a whole omelet on your face.
What was his point? I have no idea. Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
Do you know who was desperate? The company that was out here trying to convince the public they were the underdog. The company that was throwing 10-year contracts at anybody who would take it. The company that hardware sales are down 30%. The company with virtually no first-party next-gen offering. The company that's seemingly losing the next-gen console war.
Console war.
We used to beat people up for saying things like that. Everything's all topsy-turvy now.
Already. 2 years into the life cycle. That's who's desperate. They need ABK. They need them. This was their way out.
Oh, great, not this faggot again. Why does his own brand of coffee look like a Soylent bag? What is it with these pale, white, scrawny dudes with glasses? Always wanting everything to look like it's in a soy pouch.
Be gone from me, you soy boy beta cup. Be gone!
Well, either way, what the CMA said yesterday contradicts everything you're saying right now. Clearly, Microsoft doesn't need ABK. Their streaming service, according to the CMA, shares 60 to 70% of the market. That is without Call of Duty. That is without that many first-party titles on the Game Pass subscription service. Clearly, the CMA thinks they don't need COD. They already think Microsoft's service is too big. Now, I know Reforged Gaming is really happy right now because he's been living with a lot of stress with me being in his mind rent-free for this long. Now, I know he doesn't have the balls to say my name. Either way, I don't see how a company that can actually spend $68 billion is desperate. What sort of company with that type of money is desperate? That makes no goddamn sense. For a full year, Sony made Microsoft's purchase their own business. And out of desperation, they tried everything they could to stop this merger. Why Reforged continues to deny this is beyond me. He doesn't see it as desperate. He sees Microsoft flashing their wallet as desperate. If they can't get Activision, where do you think they're gonna put that $68 billion towards instead? $68 billion is still enough to purchase anything else. And if Sony continues to follow this trend of making Microsoft's purchases their own business, what are you gonna say then? I mean, you're the same guy that thought Sony intervening in this acquisition was reasonable and not desperate.
Burger King was trying to buy Coca-Cola, and they were going to give McDonald's a contract that would let McDonald's keep Coca-Cola in their store, in their restaurants. But it was a worse deal than McDonald's has right now. They have every right to reject the offer and also try to block the acquisition.
So that already says enough about you. You always gotta be looking out for the market leader, and I don't know why. So we'll take your logic and reapply it here. How is it Microsoft's fault that the competition doesn't have as good of a streaming service as they do? What right do all these other companies have to try to stop Microsoft? They all failed. They don't give you good services. They don't give you good games. You know, Reforged are just seething hearing me right now. It's great. It's totally obvious nobody really agrees with this decision. There's just a heavy investment in console warring over it, because let's face it, Xbox fanboys want to catch any W they can, and PlayStation fanboys don't want Xbox catching any W's whatsoever. All Microsoft can really do is appeal, but the CMA doesn't have a strong history of going back on their decisions. So this still leaves Activision open for being purchased by a far worse corporation. Now, on one hand, I kind of do like the idea of Activision not being reliant on $1 trillion company to keep them afloat. You know, maybe if they could fix their own issues, that'd be great. But the idea of not getting the COD collection on Game Pass anytime soon is nothing more than a slight inconvenience to a PC gamer like me. We don't win much and we don't lose much by this going through or not. We were just invested in the salt. Sadly, I was on the side that thought this would go through and it didn't. So I must take my L gracefully. I'll punish myself by smoking some salvia, I don't know.
People are forgetting that Microsoft Xbox still hasn't even reached the final boss level. If they're struggling this much this early in the game, it's probably better to just rage quit. Is she even American? No wonder the US is having issues with its own regulators. It's ran by the ops. Lol, they sabotaging American businesses.
Then why did you stay in Mexico?
How in the world did you just out-retard the Red Dragon in his own tweet? How? Oh my god, kid. You've been the same goddamn character for about 10 years. You're like Leafy is here. Absolutely no character development. Oh my god. Kid Smooth was born an Xbot and will die an Xbot. Think about how sad that is. Don't make me respond to you with some racism myself, because chances are I'll get away with it. Now, as for you, Red Dragon, oh my god, are you really cheerleading the CMA? This dude just called her a final boss. Oh, you know he searched heavily for her OnlyFans to see if it exists. Now, if you want to cheer for government officials, be my guest, but I'm good.
Good day for gamers, even Xbox gamers who don't realize it yet. Consolidation of the industry is bad for everyone no matter who does it. Hopefully it sticks and Microsoft is forced to build instead of throwing bags of money to buy success. Need to earn it.
I mean, at the very least, Kid Smooth's tweet was sort of funny. So exactly how can you consolidate the market with only 1% of it? Red Dragon, could you explain that to me? How was anything being consolidated when Microsoft was gonna put Call of Duty on multiple streaming services and not just Game Pass? Hell, even PlayStation Plus was going to get Call of Duty. Now, I don't really see what's so different from the bags of money Sony threw than Microsoft's, other than Microsoft's bags being bigger. Because at the end of the day, it's the same business strategy. Now, unfortunately, I sure as hell do wish there was some sort of consolidation. Nobody enjoys having to use Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, HBO Go, Disney Max. Pretty sure I got the name of some of those wrong, but you get my point. That's how little I care about knowing. There's just too much. It's become far easier to just pirate, because pirate sites have all the content in one place. That's literally why. It's convenient, easy, and cheap, which is what a subscription service is supposed to be, but it's not so easy when you have 10 of them. Anyone pretending like they want more subscription services is lying to themselves. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean I only want one option to exist, but even with all the added competition, it's always going to narrow down to 3 big ones, which I would still take over having 20 plus subscription services. But let's face it, we all liked it way more when everything was on Netflix, and you can't deny it. Everybody would have liked it way more if all the Activision games went to Game Pass versus having to have multiple subscriptions through Activision. Just having it all be on Game Pass without having to log in through Ubisoft, Activision Blizzard, or EA is really nice, okay? It's also a lot cheaper. But hey, what would I, a paying consumer and user of these services, know? The CMA and Sony knows what's best for me, I guess. At the end of the day, it really hardly affects my life, but it sure helps my analytics, so you should consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you so choose to. With that being said, I guess this is gonna continue for another year.
Free Congo sucks ass.